great deal has been written on the connection between the mind and the body. People like Deepak Chopra and indeed his father Krishnan Chopra have written widely on how the mind can control the body, how the mind influences the body, how the mind can overcome even serious illness. Some of Chopra's books talk about the manner in which people, given the choice between dying of cancer in 12 weeks' time or visualizing the cancer disappearing, and having chosen the latter, have succeeded in curing themselves. Ancient Chinese medicine, indeed Vedic medicine, even older than Chinese medicine, looks at the way the body should behave and how the body should be treated in a preventative context rather than a curative context. Looks at the way the body and the mind and the spirit are one whole. And looks at the way the energy and how our energy moves through our body is actually affected by our state of mind, and if it becomes blocked, ends up manifesting that blockage in terms of physical illness. I'm not talking about a common cold. I'm talking about heart disease. I'm talking about cancer. I'm talking about life-threatening illnesses. Look at the way the World Health Organization believes that stress will be the biggest killer of the 21st century. Stress will not ever appear on a death certificate. Heart disease will appear on the death certificate. Heart failure, coronary disease, cancer, all the things that are triggered by stress. And as we know, if you look at a lot of research done on stress, a lot of the videos, a lot of the articles on this website in relation to stress, stress is a figment of the imagination. And why do I mention stress in this particular context? Because it is the classic example of the way the mind affects the body. As I say, ancient medical techniques have known this for a long time. Western medicine has tended to look down on what was in the 1960s and 70s called alternative medicine, as if it was something completely different, like a new form of music. More recently, it has been called complementary medicine, as if, well, we kind of, pay some attention to it, but the main thing has to be Western medicine still. And Western medicine actually has only evolved over the last 300 years after the establishment of the Royal Academy in the UK in the 1800s. And indeed, the only qualification for being a member of the Royal Academy was that you had to be a gentleman. They're the origins of modern Western science, modern Western medicine. I was at a conference in Cambridge a couple of years ago and happened to get talking to one of the leading professors of surgery. And he said to me, I've just spent the last 6 months in Bangalore studying Vedic surgery, which goes back thousands and thousands of years. He said, I was studying from textbooks that were 5,000 years old. If I was studying surgery at the leading universities in the Western world, the oldest textbooks I'd be working on might be 60 or 70 years old. But 5,000 years old, 5,000 years of knowledge from a system of looking at the body that actually says, well, the body doesn't stand on its own. You don't get cancer simply because something suddenly grows on you. No, you get cancer because of a blockage in your vital energy. There are other videos on this website that explain that we are just made up of energy. If my mind is all over the place, and the normal adult mind is, I'm going to block my own energy, and sooner or later that is going to manifest in serious illness. Now you may say to yourself, well, it all sounds very nice, but have you ever come across specific cases where serious illness has been overcome by the mind? Personally, in my own work, I have one particular example. I've already mentioned the Chopras, the recommended book that accompanies this video is a wonderful book written by Krishnan Chopra that talks about how people's minds affect their bodies and how people's minds can have a positive effect on their bodies. But during one of my 2-day workshops, quite a number of years ago at this stage, I had a gentleman along in his 50s. I hadn't met him before, and he did my 2-day workshop, as quite a number of you watching this will have done my 2-day workshop. And on the second day of the workshop, he had to write in flowing prose what a perfect moment in his life might be like. Again, if you've done my workshop, or the online workshop for that matter, you will know what this perfect moment question is all about. He wrote in beautiful flowing prose, 3 pages of writing, beautiful handwriting, because he showed it to me afterwards. And the reason he showed it to me afterwards, he said, I suffer from advanced Parkinson's disease. He said, I haven't even been able to write my name for the last 5 years. He said, but you asked me to write down what I would see, feel, hear, smell and taste in a perfect moment, and I got so engrossed in what I was doing, I didn't realise I was writing. There's a classic example of the mind being distracted from whatever is causing the blockage in the energy that has led to a serious illness. From the mind being distracted by what we should all be distracting our minds with, if distracting is the right word. You need to get your minds away from all the stuff that's holding you back. You need to get your mind away from all the negative stuff that is inside you that you don't even know is inside you. And the only way you can do that is bring your mind into the here and the now. Now, I know a lot of people have said to me that have done my 2-day workshop, you know, that was a unique experience because it was in a unique environment. It was so different from the norm. And therein lies the challenge for most of us, because in the normal course of our everyday lives, it is so easy to let our minds slip back in the default position of paying attention to the crap that blocks our energy, even if it's subconscious attention that we're not even aware of, paying attention to the crap that is destroying our physical well-being. If you are pursuing and committed to a course of personal development, I don't mean a specific workshop, I mean an ongoing course of personal development, not only should you be seeing measurable benefits in your happiness, in your feel-good factor, in your finances, you should be seeing benefits in your physical well-being. Research done by the University of Milan in the valley just the other side of Mont Blanc, which is just behind me here, indicates that the people who are the most stress-free in the world are people living in small villages like this village here, Le Contamine-Monchois in France, because they are simply living in the now. They're living in the present moment. They don't have the kind of stress in their lives that normal people on the treadmill of the rat race have. Indeed, the cemetery, which is just up the road here, in our little village, is only populated by people who made their final journey roughly around 100 years of age, unless they've fallen off the side of a mountain or down off a glacier or something like that. The average age of somebody being carted down the hill from the village church just up there to the cemetery is around 100. Why? They've no stress in their lives. They've no physical ailments. It's all the one thing. So, if you're actually suffering from a physical ailment, or I suppose really what I'm saying is, if you think you're suffering from a physical ailment, certainly the physical ailment will be the manifestation of what you're thinking, you need to rethink things. Simple as that.